So when initial blood work, I do look at growth hormone because it is an important part of the whole hormone cascade. I do have a lot of people ask about it. I feel like it's a little bit older in the spectrum of like anti-aging or longevity. And there's been kind of mixed results now that it's been out for so long. Typically it's given in peptide form. So it's like an injection that people might give to themselves like daily or weekly. Oftentimes when I look at people's hormones, even if like men have low testosterone, their growth hormone is still where it should be. So it's a very rare instance that I would prescribe this just because there are unknown potential side effects, around like cancer and things like that. I look at, if they are low, then yes, now we have reason. But if they aren't, then we're going to look at other causes or, what's their objective. They're looking at it in, I was reading a study, I think just recently, they're studying it with like Alzheimer's patients, can it slow that process? So I think they're still learning a lot about it. It's not my first choice as a go-to for anti-aging or, keeping you, whatever the reason that you would want to go on it. I'm happy to answer more specific questions about it too.
Yeah, like you said, I do associate it as well with being like one of the like hot drugs in and around longevity back in the day, and I think it just didn't really live up to its hype or up to its name. Everyone thought, oh, HGH is going to be this miracle longevity drug, and it's like, I don't think we've quite found one specific miracle drug yet, guys. Like human growth hormones, I think a lot of it's honestly just in the name. Everyone's really, really hyped on it just because it's human growth hormone.
It'd be pretty misleading. I mean,
right? So that
if I had $1 for every time I heard someone talk about HGH.
yeah, and a lot of the old school bodybuilders use it, and there's often telltale signs if they are using it. There's like certain actual like anatomical structures that will be enlarged or like have like as a result of heavy growth hormone use.
Oh yeah, like excessive can end up something called acromegaly. I think that would be very excessive use of it. I from my perspective, as far as like anti-aging, I have seen I think the best results using stem cells or some of the biologics. I do a very like specialized type of stem cell procedure, but I think, when we measure these like internal numbers, the internal age, I think I've seen the biggest reduction because what these cells are doing is like rejuvenating your cells. So as we age, our number of stem cell replication slows. That's why, if I fall and break my arm and then my 4-year-old nephew falls and breaks his arm, he's going to heal way faster than me because he has these young, vibrant, endless stem cells. I don't have as many stem cells in my body. So that's why we go in and rejuvenate your stem cells to give you more of that youthful state and kind of reteach your stem cells how to communicate with other cells and optimize their function.
That's crazy. What's I don't know if you know this, like what's kind of like the expected result of doing that? Obviously, it's probably be very different from person to person, age, genetics, all that stuff. But I guess what is like, what would you expect after doing some like a treatment like that on somebody?
So it can depend on what we're treating. So if I'm, sometimes I'll put the cells directly into a joint, for arthritis or a tear. Or we just do them as anti-aging, so they give them through an IV, so it's systemic. And people usually report they might have more energy, they might have more like mental clarity, or overall just feel like they'll just say, I feel better. I've actually had a couple cases where I had some kidney dysfunction and we used stem cells. I also use laser guided to help direct these cells. We've seen kidney improvements. We do it aesthetically. People do it for sexual enhancement, hair regeneration. It's pretty profound, like all the uses. Jeez. The thing is knowing what you're getting. That's always like the important part, because there's a lot of junk on the market, or you know, sometimes even the doctor using the cells doesn't even realize that they have to be handled so delicately, and the cell count is, you know, is important in the way they're handled and preserved. And so there's lots of little nuances that are really important to know before you would get stem cells or a procedure done with stem cells. But they have pretty profound results.
So you can have someone screw the pooch on the stem cells that they give you, essentially.
Yeah. Personally, on myself, I've done it for rejuvenation a couple times, but I tore my hamstring pretty bad, and I injected into my hamstring, and I was able to go to spin class the next day, and I never would have guessed that I would be able to. And I was like, okay, well, after I get off the spin bike, once I cool down, I'm going to be in excruciating pain. I wasn't. I was like, it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that field does sound very promising. Stem cells.
Yeah. I sit on the ethics committee of the American Academy of Stem Cell Physicians. So it's really It's awesome because we have meetings like every week. And so we're able to talk about case studies. So we're able to understand, you know, what is this doctor doing that's working well for them? What can we incorporate in our practice? Or what can I share with this other person? Because we don't have these like mass studies yet that, you know, that like pharmaceuticals usually support. You know, it's always like kind of like all these little case studies, but they're realizing it more and more. I mean, FDA has actually approved some stem cell uses, which is exciting, but it's a slow moving area, but I think quite powerful.
Yeah, I would say too is like, I wonder what, like, as the Hector says, the point, it's very promising, but I'd be curious to see like if price points that come down, like, is this something that you see having a reduced effect the more and more it's used, or is that an age thing where people are less responsive to it, or is it purely a genetics thing? I guess, is there any limitations to just, you know, continuing to go at it, or does that hinder your body's ability to use its own natural stem cells? Bit of a broad question, but.
Yeah, I think, you know, it is very individualized. I think there are certain cases if, you know, somebody maybe has like a severe autoimmune disease, it might not be indicated. You know, certain cellular anemias, it might not be indicated, but it also depends where are you getting the stem cells from? So are you using your own stem cells? You know, like autologous stem cells, or, you know, are we getting cells from an umbilical cord? So that can also affect, you know, how the person responds to the treatment. I don't think there's like, you know, if you use too many, your body's gonna, I guess I can't answer that because people can be excessive. I know they have, you know, whole body treatments. I don't know long-term what that could potentially do because you are putting other cells in your body. But if we are like using your own cells, cleaning them up, activating them, I don't think that there's, I guess I can't say for sure, but that's a very good question. I think that's going to take some more long-term studies.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So yeah, it's very hard to gather and actually aggregate all that data to the point where you can like actually make a decision. But I think case studies are so valuable. It's just, it's so tough to, well, I mean, you're sitting on the board, but it's so tough to like push through that and like try to understand like what that means at scale, and for like prescribing and then using and then it's just tough. It's just tough. And slow moving, and something that's exciting to see, like a hamstring repaired in like that kind of time scale. It's like, well, that's shit, we kind of got to sit on our hands here and wait just for some data to roll in before we can really do anything with it.
Yeah.
But it is, it's exciting to hear and see that there is, like, I've heard a few different stem cell stories like that.
When you did trip over this thing, what was there an aha that made you continue? What was that one thing that made you go, what the heck is this? What is going on here? Because I mean, it sounds so far-fetched, and now we all know, we understand, we've done all the research with the emperor has no clothes anymore, but you tripped over it. What was that one thing that you found that kind of took you on this journey of discovery? I mean, this is so secretive, and all these very wealthy elitists that secured this thing. How did you find it?
Well, I've already mentioned it. Actually, it was the secrecy of that meeting, that founding meeting. It was, they traveled in the dark of night. They got on a private railroad car. It was very few wars of history have been conceived under conditions of greater secrecy than this meeting. And that intrigued me. I thought, when people have secrecy, it's usually something to hide. And I wanted to know what it was. And it was hard to discover. I knew that they were creating the Federal Reserve, but I knew nothing about what the Federal Reserve really did. I thought, like everyone else, I thought it was an agency of the federal government. And then I found out that no, that's not it at all. It's a cartel. It's a cartel, just like the banana cartel or the peanut cartel, the oil cartel. It's privately owned, and it's shared by the largest stakeholders in their industries. And they form cartels in order to avoid competition and control the industry, pricing, product distribution, sharing of patents and processes, and all that sort of thing, and to enhance their profits and to sock it to the consumer and give the consumer no option, because they created a monopoly, but it's a shared monopoly. And I had all of these things to learn. These are the things I learned on the road, or on the way down the rabbit hole, you might say. And so the thing that got me going, though, was this secrecy, this incredible secrecy that they went to great lengths to create around this meeting. And I thought, this must be really big. And it took me quite a while to discover the full depth of that rabbit hole. And there were several stops along the way. And I thought to myself, oh, my God, this is true? And no, this can't be true. And I'd check it out. And I found out usually from the writings of the people themselves, the conspirators themselves, who had written quite a bit about what they were doing. But it was in documents that weren't publicly available. But some of them were, and in the libraries. They had biographies written about them. A lot of history came out of the biographies. Some of them wrote articles for newspapers and magazines at the time, and their memoirs revealed quite a bit. Some of them had family members talking about them in later years, and so forth. So it took a while to piece it all together. But back to your question, it was the secrecy of the meeting that caught my curiosity. And I might add, since I'm on that little section about taking the journey, that the deeper I got into that rabbit hole, the more I realized I didn't know. And the more I realized that the story was so huge that I actually stopped writing twice. I call them my dark moment of the night, my darkest moment of the night, when I just came to the conclusion that, oh my God, I'll never be able to treat this topic adequately. I just don't have it. I don't know enough about it. I don't have the skills. And if I did, nobody would believe it anyway. I stopped writing twice. But fortunately, in retrospect, there was something in the back of my head that says, come on, Griffin, you get this thing done. It needs to be done. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's not even good, you've got to finish what you started. So I went back to the project twice, and fortunately, I was able to finish it.
Now you wrote this in the 90s, or did you write this before
96, then? I think was first edition, something like that. It's been over 20 years now. And we've had 5 editions, and we're approaching 100 printings now, to my great amazement, because I thought nobody's going to read this sprick 600-page book. I didn't even want to read it.
It's a financial classic, is what it is now.
Oh, thank you.
Today, what's your feeling, or do you even have a hand finger on the pulse of what the power of these cartels is anymore? do you see it weakening? Do you see it changing? Do you see any difference from when you started doing your research and from the beginning of this? What's that cartel looking like today?
The cartel is more powerful now, in my view, than it ever has been. Okay, we start with that. Now, does that mean that the chances of exposing it or stopping it are less? And I don't think it does, because although the cartel is more powerful and seems to have its control mechanisms in almost every aspect of our lives, the awakening of the public to the nature of the cartel and the evil that it does also is at its highest level than ever before in history. And these two forces are coming to each other at the head, and one or the other is going to break. Now, that's the question. Which one? Will it be the awakening giant, the public opinion, the people of America, and around the world, by the way? This is a problem that's shared by every country in the world. And people are awakening to it. They're powerless right now, but they're scrambling for ways to figure out how you can break the grip of the cartel. I believe that the cartel members are very worried about that. And I think that they're pushing their agenda a little faster than they should have. Had I been the chief conspirator of that group, I would say, hey, boys, just slack off a little bit. The public is asleep. We don't want to wake them up. Oh, it would take a few more years, but we've got them almost in the cage. So don't make too much noise. They're moving in just fine. They'll never wake up. But they decided to move quickly. And now people are waking up, and they've thrown so many balls at us, cannon fire and everything else, everything from terrorism to COVID to 9/11, all of those things are waking people up. So my long-term answer to that question is the power of the cartel is unlimited right now, almost unlimited. But I think it will be broken by public opinion and public action. I came to the understanding that it was all about knowing the difference between collectivism and individualism. This is the ideological framework. Our enemies, no matter who they are, whether they're raving communists, Nazis, fascists, socialists, progressives, liberals, or whatever they call themselves, whatever we call them, they're all basically, they want the same things we do. They're not all bad people. Some of them are really evil. The ones at the top, I have no truck for them.
10% of them, yeah.
Yeah, most of the people that we have trouble with are true believers that what they are proposing will save mankind from atomic war or hunger or racial bias or something like that. And they want the same things that we do, and we want the same things they do. But their idea and our idea of how to achieve it is different. Now, collectivism is the common ideology to all of those people, regardless, Republican, Democrat. You find collectivists in every cross-section. In fact, all the governments of the world today are solidly collectivist in nature. There's very little difference anymore between the government of the United States, the thinking and the policies of the government of the United States, and the government of the former Soviet Union, or today, the government of Red China. In fact, as most people know, our diplomats and their diplomats mingle quite freely. They hold conferences and they hug and kiss each other, and they're planning this new world order of collectivism. It's their common ideology. So if we don't know what they believe and what they're striving for and why, and if we don't have our own goals and know what we're striving for and why, we lose. It's going to be just as clear and simple as that. So I've spent a lot of my time trying to sell the idea of individualism and to show how it is so far superior to the ideology of collectivism. Now, if anybody in your program is wondering what I'm talking about, let me try and just put it in focus. I've created some essays on my website about this topic, so anybody that's really interested can go to freedomforceinternational.org and read some lengthy essays on it. But just for a quick, short overview, collectivism is the idea that the group or the collective is more important than the individual, and that the individual must be sacrificed, if necessary, for the greater good of the greater number. Now, that is the fundamental idea behind all of the collectivist movements. The Nazis believe that, the fascists, the communists, the socialists, all these people that we say are on the left. And there are a lot of people that we even think of on the right that believe that, but they don't want to admit it. And that's because that's all they teach in school. I was taught that in school. I came out thinking, oh, that makes sense. The greater good of the greater number, right? That's democracy. And what I didn't realize is that if you follow that idea all the way to its root, you come to the realization that democracy is a horrible form of government. It's in the pure form. And our founding fathers here in America knew that, and they said so. You can read their papers, and they say democracy has always destroyed itself. And they didn't create a democracy at all. They created what they called a republic. It's important to know the differences between a democracy and a republic. Just to make this a little more understandable, in a democracy, the majority always rules. So to win an election and to do whatever you want to do, all you have to do is just get the vote. You can get the vote easily if you're a demagogue. You can promise voters that they'll get free food, free this, free that, and free everything. Once you get to 51% of the people who are willing to accept something free, you are now king, because you can do whatever you want. And to hell with the minority. I mean, you lost. If you're 49%, you lose. There's no limitation on your power. But when you start putting limitations on the power of even those who have the majority, now you're talking about a different animal. It's no longer a democracy. It's a republic. And just think for a moment, a lynch mob in action. Now there we have a perfect democracy. There's only one dissenting vote, and he's at the end of the rope. So if you really like the idea of a democracy, you've got to be all for lynch mobs, because that's the ultimate form. So we have to think about these things. Boy, when I came to that realization, it stunned me how stupid I was, how I didn't think it all the way through. So collectivists believe that the group is more important than the individual. Individual is going to be sacrificed. It doesn't make any difference how many, as long as it's the minority, they don't count for anything. And so what do individualists think? Well, individualists believe that the individual is the root of society. In fact, we believe that there is no such thing as a group. That's a shocking statement, no such thing as a group. And the question arises, well, did you ever see a group? The answer is no. You've seen people, individual people, but group is a mathematical concept. It's a concept in the brain. It's an abstraction. It's like the number 7. Have you ever seen 7? No. You've seen 7 people maybe, or 7 trees, but you've never seen 7. So that's where group fits. It's an abstraction. And since it's an abstraction, it doesn't really exist. It's not a tangible thing. A non-tangible thing cannot have rights that are superior to humans. The human society starts with the individual. And the best way to provide the greater good for the greater number, and I'm all for that, but the best way to provide that is by putting the individual's rights uppermost. Under such a society as we used to have, that is the greater good for the greater number, because the greater number is always made up of individuals. So that's the starting point for this discussion. We have to know what we're fighting for and what we believe in, and that'll strengthen our conviction. And frankly, nothing like this has ever before happened in history. Even when our founding fathers drafted our Constitution, they created a republic, and they were supporting individualism without really using the word. I wish they had. It would have been much easier. But they used the word government. And so we were born into a system in which we were asked in school to say, well, what kind of a government do we want? It's a terrible question because we don't want government at all. What's the purpose of a government? It's to govern. Anybody here want to be governed? No, we don't want to be governed. What do we want our bureaucracy to do, our state to do? We want to be protected. We want what we now call the government to protect us against foreign invaders, against crime, corruption, fraud, things like that, theft of personal property. So we should be calling this state not a government, but a protectorate. Now, if we had done that in the beginning, and the school classroom begins with what kind of a government should we have, it would start with the words, what kind of a protectorate should we have? And then the discussion would be fruitful. Okay, I could go on a lot on this, but you asked me to say, what is my goal? What would be what the thing I would like to see the most? I would like to see more and more people, perhaps 15%, understand the difference between collectivism and individualism.
What crashed? Something like was it a stable coin? Some crazy thing happened.
Yeah, so the Terra network with Luna and the UST has had a bit of a crash. That's probably an understatement. So their stablecoin lost its peg. And I've been, obviously, with my involvement in liquid loans, I'm obviously pretty keen to understand what transpired and understand what makes a peg deviate like that. And the information at the moment appears to be that it was a coordinated attack. So someone's, I think someone set up a short. They brought a heap of Bitcoin, set up a short, shorted Bitcoin, then sold a bunch of the UST to crash the peg. And the way Terra is set up is it went into this cascading event, and we can talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But it went into like a cat.
But this happened on, just to be clear, this happened on Binance, didn't it?
I don't know if it was just, I don't think it was just Binance.
No?
I could be wrong.
I thought it didn't happen on chain. I thought it just happened on Binance.
Oh, yeah, no. So it didn't happen on, actually, no, Curve, I think, got hammered as well. So there was a lot of selling on Curve. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's pretty.
If you'd had USDC and you'd been able to swap for USDT at that 0.68, and now it's back up, I can see in the chat it's back up to 0.91, you would have had a nice appreciation of that USDT.
Yeah.
But that's trading shit. That's opportunistic trading. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. So it was pretty interesting to see how it all evolved. But I'm not sure how Do Kwon and I think they call them the Luna Fund Guardian or something like that, or I can't remember the acronym, but they basically had a big pot of Bitcoin that they were going to use to defend. It was there to use to defend against the peg getting dropped. So in the case of a peg dropping, they would go buy it back up. So buy up the stable coin and get the peg back in line. But if this was in fact that coordinated short, so someone's made the foundation sell that Bitcoin at a very low price. So they've dumped the price of Bitcoin, got the short, made him sell more of it to get the peg back in line. So it's pushed the price of Bitcoin down even further. So there's been a whole lot of whale games going on.
So this is Maxi versus Hex, right?
Are you going to draw a big dildo?
No. It's legit. It's legit. I'm just make this a bit thicker. So basically, I think
not drawing a dildo.
I think it is going parabolic with speculation. I think this is also a case of a lot of people who have Maxi are not selling, and obviously you could only get it at that specific window, and so people see it going up and go, well, I'm not going to sell it while it's going up. But my prediction is that at some point it will swing back to being closer to
a discount,
what its actual underlying value is. And I was actually also going to say that as well, that it could possibly overcorrect and go below, like swing to the other side. Like, did you guys ever remember seeing that?
I disagree. I think if it ever swings below, if it goes into discount, I think it's going to get it eaten up so quickly, because it's just like you're better off, instead of holding liquid hex, you're better off holding Maxi.
But you're admitting that it could go below. It could go below the ratio, but that it'll just be bought up quick. Like, so it might not be. It might be a short-lived dip. But I think at some point we could see it below its like expected value.
If someone wants to sell a lot of it, yeah, it will go below. But like, that's the only case. If someone sells a lot of it, and there's not even many people who can sell that much of it to make it move to that much.
There's something like 5,000 or 6,000 holders or something at the moment, but like I think the risk is that they can basically reload this. They could just reload this code and get another Maxi coin with another 5555 stake, and that would potentially compete with Maxi in the future.
No, it wouldn't compete with it. It'd be second best.
Okay,
because they'd be getting way less a share rate.
Well, it's a new stake. Yeah, well, that's a new stake.
And you probably get a lot of the original people in the original Maxi would go into the next one as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think all the people in the original one are just going to be like, I don't want anything to do with the next one. You're going to want the first one and then you're going to want the next one as well. As long as they do it far enough apart. And we did discuss this last week that it probably does need to be
what a great achievement. Wouldn't it be a great achievement for people to actually hold Maxi for the 5555 and then get it at the end? I mean, that's going to be. I mean, 15 years is a long time. Let's not forget that. And you know, if we're all in the Hex ecosystem with 5555 stakes, and you've got because I'm just talking about myself, my own weak paper hands. I know that if I was in crypto and I was buying like coins and putting them in my wallet and not staking them, I would have probably sold for less.
So what, the 50%? So how low will it go?
As drastically return towards what its actual underlying value is. So it doesn't have to go below it.
Within 5%.
No, just not 150%. Like not keep going up and not even maintain this level of overpricing.
I don't think it's gonna.
So,
I don't think it's.
So let's say below 125, like below 1.25, below one.
But even that's like below, a massive. Even that's a massive premium. You just argue. So my point.
But it's cutting the premium in half. It's cutting the premium in half. Like.
Yeah, but it's still in premium.
Well, compared to all you guys that think it's just going to go up forever, like as in bitch whale or whatever.
No one's saying
little bitch in the comments. He's commenting that he thinks it's going to go fucking up forever, and that all dips are going to be
No. What he's saying is it's going to stay in premium.
Hey guys, you're doing some kind of
You know what? Hey. See, I guess you always got to appeal to the lowest common denominator, don't you?
We're all some kind of Australian.
There's no helping some people. We try, but like they just retarded.
43's suggestion of a guessing comp is brilliant because it's actually refining what each of us is actually saying. Because you guys are now finding out that you thought that I meant that it was going to go like necessarily go below for extended periods of time. That's not what I was saying. I was just saying these sorts of premiums can't be maintained when the underlying asset is calculatable. It's just, and certainly if it keeps extending, like it looks like it's going parabolic at the moment. So I think this is a speculative parabola. At some point it will fall out of the parabola and it will return drastically towards the actual underlying value. And so my bet would be,
but it will keep the premium.
Back below 1.25 within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, but even 25% is a massive premium.
Yeah, but that's yes, it is.
Can I just answer this question? Right after I've left your mother's house.
So it is still a premium, but it is half. It is half. It's cutting your gains in 50%. Do you like having your gains cut in 50%? No. So like I'm still saying that this premium will get chopped into within the next 2 weeks. So you don't think that's a drastic enough statement?
No, I'm saying that could easily happen as well. I could see it.
So I actually agree. I agree with you. I think 25% is still insane as well. That paying 25% premium on something that has a calculatable underlying value is also insane. But I'm just trying to like put it at a level where I'm confident that it will actually happen, even within the insanity that can happen in a market. The whole markets can stay irrational sort of shit. I'm trying to make my bet within the context of irrational markets. That's why otherwise I would just be like, yeah, straight back at some point back to what it's meant to be valued at, or below, like swing to the other side.
What's the daily hex payout on Maxi stake? Does anyone know rough ballpark figure? I did see it somewhere. It's daily on the what is it? What did we say before? 42,000 T shares. Let's have a look.
Yeah, you can see on the Maximus on their dashboard they got all sorts of awesome stats.
Let's go and have a look. Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, wait. Dozer gave me an awesome dash. Do you want the dashboard that Dozer gave me?
Yeah,
sure.
Epic. It's epic. It tells you like how much interest has been earned, and
that's on the Maximus cash.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to look at. All that stuff.
Don't get me wrong. I'm bullish on Maxi. I love the project, and I do believe it will outperform Hex. Like because
no way.
It has to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it has to because of that. Well,
but by even more than it's meant to because of speculation and shit. But
not towards the end. Towards the end, it'll have to come back to what the actual value would be on Hex and plus Hedron.
Treasury value is $46 million or $46 million something dollars. That's what it's worth. And then, let's say, okay, so the total Treasury Hex, Hedron as well. So T shares.
Does it give a ratio of what it should actually be worth versus Hex?
Yeah. But no, with Hex plus the Hedron, like what its actual value is. It gives that value, and then it gives what it's actually.
It's already yielded 200. It's already yielded over $200 million in like a couple of weeks. That's unbelievable. That's huge money, isn't it?
Are you sure you're not looking at Hex?
No, I'm looking at Maximus.cash. I'm looking at Maximus.cash, and I'm looking at the dashboard, and down the bottom it's saying Maximus stake calculated, and it's got estimated yield. Or maybe that's a total yield at the end. That's the estimated yield for the stake at the end. I mean that
sounds more like it.
Yeah, it's way out. That's what. Oh yeah, estimated redeemable amount per Maxi.
Because I think you see there, it's got backing per Maxi, right? And that's 15.888 cents, and its market price at the moment is 24 cents. So
so there you go. So it's above. Yeah, the market price is above
8% premium.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It's madness.
That's right. Wow.
I mean,
it's very
it is a lot.
To estimate it, it's pretty easy because the stake has only just started. So the amount of interest it's generated as like percentage wise would be tiny. So its underlying value should only be just over a factor of 1. Like it should be 1.
Well, I think you might be proven right on this one, Tangent. I think it's because it's new and shiny and it's
Yes.
The question is this: what is the price that what's people's price? Like what are they willing? Yeah, at what point? Because at the end of the day,
dumping it now while they're listening to us.
It's not like there's a big pool of liquidity. There's a very limited amount of Maxi, and people actually need to want to sell.
And FOMO is real.
Yeah,
FOMO is real.
So but is a 2x enough? Like, is a 2x enough?
Is a 2x enough? Man,
no, those are rookie numbers,
dude. If it got anywhere near a 2x, I would probably sell like 90% of my bag. Like,
okay, so would
it
you?
Will come. It will come
Bitcoin,
back.
okay, if Bitcoin,
how much are you selling at 50%?
Would you sell? Would you sell your Bitcoin?
Get more Hex back than what you started with. That's awesome.
Here's the critical aspect. No other crypto has like a calculatable value relative to anything else in this world. This one does. So when my Bitcoin does a 2x, I still don't know whether it's under or overvalued for sure. Like I can look at like adoption rates and on chain, and I can try to grasp some kind of concept of what it's worth. But you don't know for sure. The point is,
Tangent, that the ERC20 token doesn't know that it's a representation of like Hex and Hedron and like all that. It doesn't know that, right? It's
Well,
just a fucking, it's just a token, right?
But the market participants do.
The market
But that's why.
So you should just, so if we just like play this thought experiment out with me, it's just another token, right? If you want to attribute that other calculation, it should be worth this or it should be worth that. That's fair enough. But if you're just looking at like, what am I getting out of this? Like, is a 2x enough? Would you sell your Bitcoin on a 2x, or does it need to be a 3x or a 4x, or does it have to hit a mil?
Because Bitcoin going up is not relative to some calculatable underlying value. Look, guys, I want to be clear about something. I'm not mad at the chart. Like, I'm not sitting here being like, no, Maxi shouldn't be this price. It needs to come back down to its underlying value. I'm not doing that. I don't care. I'm glad it's going up. I've got some. Like, I just
everyone here is happy. Everyone here is happy that Maxi is
pumped.
Yeah.
Dude,
everyone here is super happy.
But it has a calculatable underlying value. And
hang on,
so far above that right now.
You're 100% right. When I say everyone here, like, we're happy with Maxi, I'll tell you who's not happy. I'll tell you who's not happy. All the Maxi holders who are listening to us like FUD their fucking bags, right?
I'm not fudding. Oh, I mean,
they're
not
like,
FUD. It's not FUD. That's not FUD. I would call
I
it
guess.
FUD.
I guess
that's
I
market
guess
analysis. That's just analysis.
Yeah.
And
true.
It's
so
analysis.
I mean, fuck it. Like, let's just get rich. Like, as in, doesn't matter how. But I am.
So Tangent, are you going to sell on a double?
There's no law against making lots of money, is there, ladies and gentlemen?
On a double of its underlying.
Yep.
Bro, I would be as out as I ever got, because remember, I've got a policy: never sell none, never sell all. I always keep part of my bag just in case insane shit happens.
I've been applying that principle and it works well. I like it.
By the time, so if Maxi gets to worth 2 hex, I tell you I'll be 90% out by then. I'm not saying so I may have scaled out along the way. I'm not saying I'm going to wait for that and then sell 90% at that point, but I will be 90% out by
selling the rips.
Dude, at 2 times what its underlying is worth, a calculatable underlying value. I don't know if I'm stressing this to you guys. The underlying value is calculatable.
So everyone out there,
do you know any other assets?
You're loving it. You're loving it. And
everyone out there, we've got 181 listeners right now. Everyone out there heard it, guys. If you want Tangent out of fucking Maxi, if you want him out, buy it up to 2x.
You got to pump that shit, dude. You got to get that shit to the 2x.
And we're going to get him the fuck out of Maxi. Not financial advice.
I was a nobody. I didn't understand everything. I was still learning. And luckily, I was smart enough to understand that I had to follow RG's guidance on killing some of those short stakes to make a longer one for big payday. Because a lot of people just were not aware. They didn't understand that. Right? And this is why I don't care about anything but the blockchain data. Understanding what the software does is what matters, not the price chart. So
it's a good observation, because it was a party on that day and there was a 24-hour stream. Everybody had the top hats on and everybody knew that the dip would come, but we still had a party. It's totally opposite to.
But there's a reason for that, and this is the power behind what we are sharing here, right?
I heard you lecturing the voice chat today to this effect, when they were like kind of getting all frothed up, saying, how many weeks am I going to take off work starting when? And how many dogs am I going to sell to be able to get more little dry powder for this big dip? And then it's going to be to this date. And they started going crazy. And then Das Bomb comes in and says, no, it's not coming out anytime soon. Silence. You popped the bubble, killed the vibe. It's not coming out anytime soon. This is an admin laying down the law. Children, stop having fun. Give me back all those Christmas presents. They remain under the tree until I say, but it's the 25th already. Not the year you think it is. Oh.
Somebody
It's
made
better,
a
it's
point
better.
that there's a massive stake coming out on the 16th, so that's why some people think
There is always
it's on the
there is
17th,
always
the
one
launch
coming
day.
out.
Yeah,
There was a
but-
billion,
like the
a
1
billion
billion?
hex stake came out already.
There's no
Yeah.
more massive stakes coming out. That's the end of it. Yesterday was
It's the end of it.
There was this original tweet in March 21, 2021. So that's over a year ago. Think you're safe? You might not be. If you deposit 2 kinds of ETH stablecoins into a pool and try make yield, and one fails, the market will trade all your good ones for the bad ones, leaving you with the valueless ones. What seemed conservative can lead to total destruction.
Yep.
And then he retweeted it. Why am I always so right? UST Luna. So you had those two in a pool, and Luna lost 40% of its value because it's an algorithmic coin. It takes time for it to catch up. Like the centralized ones that are completely guided and have a fixed peg based on what is happening in the data centers in the background, how they deal with their bank accounts and everything. And even funnier was than this guy here. He always seems to he always seems to just dip into that pool, into that oil.
That's silly.
And I don't know. It was like what, just a month ago? Yeah.
Well, debate's over.
a little bit over a month ago.
Yeah, but many of the furus showed Luna heavy over the
Of
winter.
course.
It was the coin du jour. so
Oh
to
yeah,
speak.
and it's isn't it on
je
like
ne sais
Gemini
quoi.
too? It's on Gemini, like the
Yeah, of
little
course.
stable of shit coins.
Of course it is.
It's so funny how these things like evolve. And then there is something even more interesting that came out of it in regards to all the people that always want to be on the hype cycle, like, yes, we're going up, we're not dropping, launch soon, launch in 2 days, right? Those people, look at this little tidbit. If a truly decentralized global stablecoin ever exists, I don't think it will have an abrasive, argumentative, come at me, bro leader. I think it rises organically from nothing a la Bitcoin.
Do you think this Luna thing is going to be the next stupid thing that the U.S. Congress debates over? You see, we told you they have to be regulated to the hilt. These stable coins are detrimental. They're dangerous for people to use.
Well, if you put up the tweet that I put in the private chat, if that is possible.
The one where you say, suck it, Congress?
Kind of.
Oh.
It kind of exemplifies the fuckery that's going on in the space.
Please, bring it up.
Yeah, it's maybe 4chan.
Looks like Biz. Yeah,
And
it is
it's-
4chan,
it's-
but
and
it
it's
looks
a
like
rumor
Biz.
too. Like, this is not confirmed, but I can totally believe it. Like, I can totally see this happening.
Citadel borrows 100k BTC, trades 25k BTC for UST, opens a short, starts dumping 75k BTC aggressively. Once BTC reached 30k, they started dumping UST to make it lose its peg. Now
Whoa.
one is forced to sell 25k BTC at a major loss to recover the peg, further dumping the price of BTC. Meanwhile, Citadel is shorting all the way.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Can you see those open trades, or is it just an assumption?
I don't
they,
know. I found
they
this on a, it was because the market was dumping yesterday, and I was trolling in my old back alleys and some weird Bitcoin forums and had a look around, and I saw this. But I can totally see this happening, that they play the market to their advantage all the time and dump on the normal, regular, everyday users by playing these games. And that gives the whole space a bad look. And that's why Hex is just so much better. We don't deal with any of this crap.
Themed sale? Oh, no. Exactly as I predicted.
I have good news for Carl the Moon.
Carl the Moon.
Because he sacrificed both for Pulse and PulseX. And
Oh, great. So he can dump on our heads to make up for his loss. Perfect.
Richard is
Yeah.
here for you. He will make your sacrifice worth it, hopefully.
You know, he should have opened his mouth for this one to get more viewership.
Yeah. He should do like That's a new meme.
Wait, did people sacrifice Luna?
No.
Oh, oh, absolutely they did, but it's got to have been liquidated since since then, though.
I think any of these shitcoins must have been sold right away.
Absolutely.
I would hope so.
I know
Otherwise,
somewhere.
we need a version 4 testnet with new sack.
But I also remember some were sold into.
We have to
stables.
correct something
I mean,
here.
Some
UST
people would be.
is technically a stable.
Some people may be very, very happy that they sacrificed with their Luna.
Possibly.
Hot
yes.
potato.
Possibly. Yeah, yeah. Let's hope it works out. Jeez.
Where?
I just lost $1.8 million in a Luna boating accident.
Oh yeah. Well.
The moon
Well,
boat.
But everything is down. Even the Phantom, what everybody was shilling as the next hot potato on the, during the last 6 months. That is the worst loser in the top 100.
Even
now.
Tesla was down yesterday.
So Hex is proving itself again and again and again, and we're still being gate kept and
don't forget that we are in an 80% dip though as well. So there is
but no.
We're already down.
It could be way worse than it is.
Look
Look at all these.
We're in a nice, warm home with no leaks in the ceiling, and it is a torrential rain outside right now. Just enjoy, have a nice cold brew, and have a seat with me over by the fireplace. Welcome to Hex
are
House.
on the price levels we were in April. Or
Stakers
March.
get paid every day.
Every day, you're buying the dip
where is
every
it?
day.
Wales is not awake. That's your cue, Wales. Stakers get paid every day.
Yep. Of course, if you're just in liquid, you're down, but you want to be staked.
Wales. Free marijuana.
So can I explain something to you guys? Because that comment by Viber made me think of something that most people just don't realize. Just like we don't look at shit coins, shit chains, and etc. They don't look at anything else. You guys realize this, right? So when people say, "Oh, they don't know about this, they don't know about that," of course they don't know about it. Just like we don't need to know about their shit. But the difference here is that they actually need to know about Hex and PulseChain and the rest. Because this is actual cryptocurrency. They don't know that they're being swindled. Because they're miseducated, misinformed. And this is what I'm talking about. Because when people enter this space, what happens? They run into the Furu army. Step one is the Furu army in miseducation.
Yeah. They tell them what they want them
to hear.
Them to know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy to fall into that trap because they're visible 100%. And out there.
Yeah,
and
they're the ones that get promoted.
Big channels. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that get promoted, not us. So we have to remember that. This is why everybody doesn't know about PulseChain. Duh. Of course not. It's gatekept because Richard is associated with it. So,
but then again, maybe maybe us just saying that isn't good enough. It's they need to live through 2-3 market cycles.
For sure.
Finally. Understand the message. They must hurt.
Staking is so easy, and it makes life so easy that I can say that there is no risk, even if your bag is going down 80%. Because what happens? Well, if you're staked long enough, you're not exiting your position. So does it really matter that you're down 80%? You're just looking at some number. You're not even taking any action on it, and you don't intend to. It's just an accounting figure at that point in time. It's not realized until you actually end your stake and close that position out.
And you make a conscious choice. And you hopefully thought it through. And you're safe for that time because you already have everything else fixed in your life.
It's you have
diamond hands. Like
it's a process. Yeah. It's not easy.
Like there's so many things in the background that you made a plan. Like it's just so much better.
And like my stream yesterday was, hitting on all these points. Why don't these people know about PulseChain, Hex, and all of this? Because it's hidden from them, because this is cryptocurrency. There is a vested interest by all the players out there that control the financial system to ensure that the masses do not learn about actual cryptocurrency. It is their mission to ensure that they learn about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of that fake crap that is not cryptocurrency. Period. That is not a debate. If you don't get it by now, then you are part of the problem. Very simple. You either help others learn what proper cryptocurrency is. It's not about bashing them about, oh, Hex this, PulseChain that. It's, hey, this is why you got smoked. You're being lied to. This is the information you need to know. Look at the first line of the abstract in the Bitcoin white paper. It tells you you're being lied to. This is the time to educate people. This is not the time to dance on their graves.
No, this is the time for the outro.
Let's bring in the CEO of Charity, Seda.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Doing great.
Nice to meet
So
you.
nice to have you. I've seen you a little bit on some other streams, and was very intrigued by your project and what you guys, all the work you've put in. And like I said in the intro, we both are just big into nonprofit and giving back, and so that's really why I was so excited to have you on here. But tell us a little bit about how this whole thing started.
Absolutely. I mean, just to kind of get into my life story. So, I mean, I've always been a person that, I know I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, but like all my friends were like, hey, I want to be this and I want to be that. I want to be a police officer, and I never had that job in my mind. And so, as I grew up, I just was a blue collar, hardworking guy. I worked for the Postal Service, worked for cable companies, and worked for a lot of hard physical jobs. And at one point in my life, I lost my job, and once I finally got back on my feet, I told myself, hey, I need to figure out a way for me to make some extra income from my family, because at the time I had 2 kids and a wife. So I can't ever get myself in a situation where we have no money ever again. And at that point, that's when I started looking into crypto. And so I've been in crypto for a couple of years now. It's probably been about 3 years now, but ever since I've gotten into crypto, it's been love. Like it's just been nothing but love. I love the process of crypto. I just love everything about crypto. And I've always known since I've gotten into crypto, I wanted to do something in it. And so, for the first couple of years, you're just learning. You don't know what Ethereum is. You don't know what Bitcoin is. You don't know what altcoin is. So that first year is just all about learning. I learned, I got into altcoins, learned about a few different altcoins. And, some of my mentors was telling me like, man, these coins that's on Coinbase and, Binance, they started somewhere. So, that's really what got me going. And, a lot of people like my charisma, they like me as a person, and they wanted me on their project. And so I was actually supposed to be doing some other projects, and in my life, things just wasn't going the way I had it planned in my mind. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this and I'm supposed to be doing that. And it just didn't work out that way. And so I remember one night I was trying to go to sleep and I couldn't. And I'm like, man, things are just not going the way that I wanted to go. Just like, why me? Why this? And so, I kept hearing this name Charity as I was supposed to be sleeping. I couldn't. And, after like an hour, I'm like, okay, what is this Charity? Like, why does it keeps replaying over and over in my head? Charity, Charity. I'm like, I don't even know what Charity is. Like, I've never heard of that. And so I got up and I finally wrote it down. So, I was like, maybe I'm supposed to write it down. And so I finally wrote it down. And then like, it just came to me like a brief description of like a utility, which is give crypto to charity. And so once I wrote that down, I wrote down Charity. I finally was able to go to sleep. And when I woke up the next morning, that the moment is history. I started figuring out who do I want on my team and what other utilities I want to, as far as my project, and what is this going to look like going forward.
Oh, that's great. It's funny. It's funny how our plan is not always the right plan. Yeah. And it sometimes takes that, because I've woke up many a times like, what the heck does that even mean? And then down the road, sometimes it's not instant, but down the road you go, oh, I get it now. So really cool story.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, it definitely was a changing point in my life, and I'm glad to say that I finally have a passion in something that I really believe in. I really love it, and it's something that I want to see through to the end.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity for the charities or the nonprofits to get that added exposure that they wouldn't have, just on their own. I'm interested to know, for a lot of these organizations, I know from working in nonprofits for years, it takes a lot of time to really get into crypto, right? To really understand what you're doing, to feel safe that the funds are protected and that you are not putting your organization at risk. So do you guys do anything with like education for nonprofits, really helping them to be able to feel comfortable using wallets and using crypto as a form of currency?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. That's an awesome question. We do have pretty much our own media section, and we're going to get a more dedicated page for media and just help in general. So right now, a lot of our help videos are on our Share the YouTube page. And one thing I didn't mention, which is kind of a side note, we do charity events as well. So if you want to go on the Share the Token YouTube, you can kind of see some of the charity events that we've done. One charity event I would love to highlight is the Dream Center one. We went to the Dream Center in LA. A lot of people that deal with like, addiction and, alcoholism, just struggling, we think our life is bad. And when you watch this video and some of the stories that, these people told, it's heartbreaking. And, it's just, I really would love if you guys can take 10 minutes to watch that video. Awesome content. But yeah, to get back to your question, what was the question one more time?
Just resources as far as walking nonprofits through.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we do have help videos that's on our YouTube, but right there on the homepage, we will have, a more dedicated section where we can get all the videos, like creating the wallet. Like we've already made a video where you create a wallet from start to finish. We've made a video where you can, make a Coinbase and, how to buy and sell on Coinbase. We're all about crypto adoption. We're all about crypto education. I'm really, really big on that. And, that's just one of my passions. I love teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question. I mean, I know, I have been in the nonprofit space as well. How does a donor know if this is legit or not? I mean, do you have a team that's actually, interviewing folks? Because I know from just other things that have happened in my life that there's been a lot of people that have been taken advantage of, that the money's not really going anywhere. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just asking, how are you guys making sure no one's getting taken advantage of?
No, yeah, that's an awesome question. And we get that question a lot too. Sometimes you just can't trust, what's going on in this space. And the main thing is the blockchain doesn't lie. The blockchain is completely transparent. If there's something shady that's going on, if there's something that doesn't look right, you can always see that on the blockchain. And that's another thing. That's another reason why I really push to create our own smart contract. Everything is traceable like that. You can go on there and see what's going on. So I really do think that with the charity coordinates that we do have, the charities that we do have on our platform, and even the individuals, if you click on the accept crypto button, we have a really, really rigorous application. And even after you fill out the application, we still have to go there and make contact with you and your organization, or if you're an individual, we have to make contact with you as well and just say, hey, talk about the story, talk about your charity, talk about your mission, talk about your drive, and see what's going on. And especially if you're a charity, like you got to give us information like your EIN and, where you're located, your board of directors, like, stuff that's really, really hard hitting. And, you really can't make this stuff up. I can go and look up your charity on, the charity locator and say, okay, the stuff that they're telling me is legit. And if you're an individual, let's say if someone gets into a car accident, there's reports that corroborate this certain stories, whether it be a medical document or a police report or, a fire report, something like that. So we definitely want to be able to make sure that, we're dotting our T's and crossing our I's, and we don't want anyone getting scammed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see this page, but yeah, definitely a lot of info to fill out, which is great. I was talking to another gentleman that's been kind of thinking about doing something like this, and he was trying to develop teams all over the country that would actually show up at these places and do like a surprise visit. And I was just telling them, man, you're talking about resources beyond. I mean, I don't know how you'd ever do that unless you had volunteers all over the country, but or you're flying out all over the place. But anyway,
right. I think that this is a really good question in the chat here. Someone is asking, is charity not the token, but the platform as a business? Is it a 501c3?
Absolutely. We have a LLC and we also have a nonprofit, and we've already filed for our 501c3 status. So we should look to get that in about 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Good question.
Yeah, very good question.
Crypto Compassion, great people, great project. I want to put David Lee's up again. Love the decentralized option for the little guys, which me too. So tell me a little bit about, I mean, like, I know, and I watched you on some other streams, and I know this is like, you have a lot of ideas. I mean, you're a bright guy, and I can definitely tell that. So tell me what's the big picture of this whole thing? I mean, I know this is the, one part of it, but what else are you trying to do?
Honestly, like, in 5 years time, like, I really see charity and our logo around the world. Like, if you can come to me and say, hey, in some way, shape or form or fashion, charity helped someone in my life or even me personally, like, I feel like my goal was fulfilled, whether that be, a mom or a cousin or auntie or uncle, or a charity that we've donated to, I just feel like I really want to see our platform around the world. And I also want to get to a point to where we have certain, and it's kind of hitting on what you just said. We really want to open up offices all around the world, especially in like third world countries. We want people to just be able to go into our office and be able to get donations, because some people don't have internet. Some people don't have phones. Some people don't have access to banks. And we want people, if we can just donate directly to the office, and they can distribute funds like that, we really just see ourselves going global. We don't see ourselves in just one part of the world. And, I feel like, with the technology like this and the utility like this, and if we can continue to just go the path that we've been going, nothing can stop us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have the motivation. That's what I look for in a project. I like to know who the people are behind the scenes. I guess if you are familiar with my story at all, then you know that I run a tour that's based in Richard Hart Ecosystem Projects. And so for me, I think that that's one of the things that I come across the most is with people that aren't in crypto, is the fear that it's not a real person in the background, that one day it's just going to all disappear. And it does make people feel a lot more comfortable when they can see, and identify, okay, this is the person that has told me it operates like this, and who I can go back to if it doesn't operate like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm 100% transparent. I really love giving. And, a lot of people ask me, why am I doing this and why am I like this? It's just really my personality. Like, I've always been that guy where, if you need something, you can always come to me. My family comes to me, my friends come to me, and it just seems natural. It just feels weird when people are giving me stuff. Like, I want to be helping out. I want to be lending a helping hand.
Yeah, I relate to that so much. That's definitely me. My wife sometimes says, hey, I mean, I think you'd give your shirt right now. It's like, yeah, I probably would, I mean, I don't really care.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have people like that, because there's a lot of people that are the other way, especially, I mean, well, I won't say especially, but a lot, like BHEX was talking about, and even in this community, that I won't say that they won't give, but they don't like giving. Let me put it that way. So it's nice to talk to someone that's really what you're trying to do. One question, you mentioned something earlier, and it kind of intrigued me a little bit, was the daycare. Is that something you're starting soon, or what's the idea behind that?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. I really wanted to segue into it. So we really want to, start revitalizing or, just reshaping certain daycares or even starting our own daycares. So my mom, she ran her own autistic daycare, all throughout when I was growing up, and I would come home and she'd run a daycare out of our home, and just to interact with the kids and just to be there. It was just a fun time, and just my love for kids in general, that's where it grew from. And so as I've gotten older and now I have 3 kids myself, I never knew what the process was as far as putting my kids in daycare. And I didn't know it was so many like rules and regulations and politics. And, like we walked into a daycare and we're like, hey, I want to put my kids here. And like, okay, well, this parent makes too much, or this parent doesn't make anything, or this parent needs to work and this parent, doesn't need to work. And it's like, oh my goodness, I just want to put my kids somewhere. Like, why is it so many different, stipulations? Like, I don't understand. And so we really want to take, all the politics out. We want to open up a safe space for children so that way they can have somewhere and, they can come and play, learn, eat, and parents don't have to worry about what's going on. Parents can work and come pick up their kids. And, and another thing I've noticed as well is, I used to work in insurance. And, a lot of times we would go to some of these daycares and they have no insurance, they have no medical, no retirement, and at the same time, they're making minimum wage. So, you add all those factors up, you got a very unhappy employee. And these are the people that's watching your kids. So we really want to change the space. We really want to just make it positive all the way around and just look at all the negatives and see how we can improve it and just open up charity daycares.
Your mom must be a true blessing for sure. I mean, anyone that's done the type of work she did, and that's probably where you get your giving from. You're wanting to give back. So, man, just what a blessing she is. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that because I feel like you probably are. Are you similar to her?
Yes, I'm very similar to my mom. It's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, I figured you were because people that like you, they have somebody typically in their family that's kind of the same way. It comes from somewhere. So good stuff for sure. But what else you got on the? You're a smart guy, and we didn't talk about your team much, but I'm sure you have a great team behind you. So what else you got coming up?
Absolutely. I have an awesome team. First and foremost, I could not be here without a team. Running a token, running a business, running 2 businesses, because we're initially just running 2 businesses. We have the token and we have the actual platform, and like I said, we have to kind of split them up. And I'll touch on this just a little bit. We were trying to get a lot of different charities, get a lot of different organizations over to our charity token website, and we only had the one website at the time. And so we'll be making these phone calls like, hey, we got a donation platform coming up and we want you to start accepting crypto. It's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. Oh yeah, okay, well, send me some information. And so we'll send them the actual token website. It just did not make any sense. It was like a white paper and tokenomics and burn, and it has all this stuff for investors. And so and one thing you really have to do in business, you have to pivot a lot. Sometimes you just have to make a quick pivot, change right there on the fly. And right there on the fly, we made a brand new website for just charities alone, because we understood, these charities, they're partnerships, they're not investors. So we got our space for our investors. We have our space for the actual charities, for partnerships and individuals. So we want to keep it like that. So I could not do something like this alone. So I will shout them out. We have I'm Telling Mom, and these are their handles. I'm Telling Mom, Kilowatt, Seawood, Halo, Nija, Mufasa, Kryptonian, Chad, Chin, and then we have some of the core team, which is Crypto Culture. She's our project manager. Crypto Lotus and Crypto Press is our 2 charity coordinators. And then we have our very own in-house art guy, and his name is Javier, and he's working on our new NFT line that should be coming up pretty shortly.
Okay. NFT line, I like that. To touch on that a little bit, what are you thinking on that?
We have a lot of great stuff coming up in the NFT line. It's not just one thing. We're even trying to partner with a very, very huge charity to do a co-NFT. And we want to auction it off and have the NFT sold to a winner, and then the winner can come out to that charity event where we're sponsored with that big charity, and just, you know, just have a great time and give back. And, you know, we have big plans, big things that we want to accomplish. And, you know, even with like when we meet celebrities like Dwight Howard and John Sally, it's like, it's not easy to set things like that up. You know, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. You know, it takes a lot of follow-up, because sometimes people will read your message and, you know, they're so busy, you know, they can't respond right there in that minute, and they kind of forget. And I know a lot of people in crypto, they want things very fast. And so one thing I also would say is I love my community, because they've been very patient. They've been very patient since day one. Now we have the utility, and the big thing is, hey, let's go out there and get this utility to the world.
Let's first define, right, MCA, and then let's define Hex Investment Trust.
Okay.
Because it gets confusing for people, because they're two separate. They cannot be, first and foremost. So MCA is basically an estate planning solution for crypto wealthy people. Now, it doesn't just do that. It's just a wealth planning solution, estate planning solution in general. But we cater specifically to the crypto crowd because that doesn't exist. So that's basically vertical number one, the financial foundation, right? Because you can do your asset protection, you can do your estate planning, tax planning, legal planning, all these different types of things that you need to do once you have a certain amount in terms of net worth. So that's the MCA side of the house. Now, the Hex Investment side of the house, Hex Investment Trust side of the house is a little different, because that is a specific type of an investment product. It's not necessarily a company. And this is what's confusing for people. So what that means is that an entity oversees the trust, and that entity hasn't been disclosed, because all you need to know about is a trust, because that's the product that matters. That's the product that's on display here. Now, Hex Investment Trust is a 506D regulated security. That means that we can only speak about this product intimately to accredited investors and qualified purchasers. The information that we can disclose publicly is not going to be anything greater than something that's basic. So if you are not privy to the PPM, if you're not an investor, you're not going to get any information outside of what is given to you. So it's important you understand that, because this is a private placement, private investment. MCA, it's a private entity as well. So the information we're willing to give you is the information you're going to get. You don't get more than that, because we're not willing to give up our strategic advantage.
What happens to the current future airdrops or rewards from the underlying liquid Hex holding?
To be determined.
Yes, to be determined.
To be determined.
Especially if we feel that there's something that doesn't benefit the trust or could possibly put there be a security vector attack, we will not participate in that at all. So it's to be determined, guys.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah. So just, and because I know where that questions could come from, and that could come from, well, what are you guys doing? Where's the ETH? Well, there has to be some considerations taken here. We don't just grab onto an airdrop. It has to be absolutely positively beneficial and secure. So that's the answer.
Here's a question I have. Will the address be public so everybody can kind of see it? What's the funds are going to be doing? Or
when we go public, absolutely. Yes. There's a lot of things we can't nor should we share with the public in the private stage. So we will like to, those of you guys who go through the accreditation process and you sign a, not an NDA, guys, I know a lot of you guys are going to wonder about that, but you signed a subscription agreement. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to fund it, but we will disclose that address to you guys so you can personally view it, but you have to go through the accreditation process first.
Yeah. One important thing I'd like to note is that this, damn, what the hell was I going to say? I lost it. Well, in there, you'll be able to see certain
that will actually gain you money instead of going all the way down to 11.
can't really answer outright due to regulatory reasons, but let's just say this. For now, the hex to unit trust ratio is 1 to 10. It's not going to stay that way. It will get wider over time.
Yeah.
And that's the most alpha you will get from me on the math. That's it.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
all. Because if you think Maximus is crazy, wait till we're
there
done.
will be. It's pretty. It's. I think it's. If you really think about it, it's pretty obvious that there's going to be outsized gains for those who get in early. So
Yeah, for sure. Because again, right
Yep.
now the ratio is 1 to 10. So
Yep.
1 trust unit for every 10 hex. There's going to come a point in time in the future where that ratio is going to change. I
Yep.
can't speak on that because of regulatory reasons, but it will change in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, Brizology. You just have to liquidate it into fiat cash. And then
We'll even take your old Bitcoin too.
Yeah, why don't you just liquidate Bitcoin, turn it
Before it
bring over
liquidates
to
you.
Ethereum, and then just Uniswap it into Hex and put a light in-kind transaction that will actually gain you money instead of going all the way down to 11,000.
That was good. That was good.
Brizcorn.
Brizcorn.
We got to talk about something right now because everybody is on pins and needles, right?
Yeah.
And we needed to clear some air on this and stop some of the chatter and answer the questions that some people still have. I mean, even though a lot of this has been gone over ad nauseum, I know Whale speaks to it a lot, but there are still some people that, all they get is hearsay information and they haven't heard it from us yet or seen Blake on stream or know who Blake is and who our partner is and why we're doing this and who we're doing it with and for, because the tenet here of this part of the community of Discourse Syndicate and the group here has always been the things that we do has always been here to help the community, to help better Hex, to help better Pulse, to help better our crypto economy that's being created. And we've always brought everything to the forefront with integrity. And I'm not turning any streams off. I'm not rug pulling this thing. I'm not going anywhere. I will stand up and put my face up here every single time and let everybody know who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I always thought that was enough. Obviously it's not. But we're going to just keep talking about it, keep educating and letting people know what we're here for and why we're doing it. It's always been to provide more for the community. And I want everybody to know, and I don't just say this, but I haven't made a dime off any of this stuff. In fact, it's done nothing but cost me money. All of these things have cost me money. And I'm glad that I'm able to do so and put into it. And everybody's going to reap rewards from it eventually, because what it's going to do is it is going to lift the value of Hex. All these things are going to lift the value of Hex because Hexkins are going to have an easier time of moving their money around and protecting their assets, and creating a better crypto experience versus what has been out there. Look, I know a lot of people who got wealthy early in crypto back in 2013, 14, 15. And those guys are running around the world and half of them are broke. Some of them are in jail and the other ones are, running from whoever. And it was a hard time for them because they didn't understand any of these things. They just got rich. They didn't get wealthy. See, rich is you got a bunch of money. You don't know what to do with it. And you go and spend it and you waste it and you end up broke or bankrupt or worse. And I've seen all of it. But this has given Hexicans who are accumulating wealth the opportunity to go and do something better for themselves. So that's what these products are for, is to help improve our bags, make us all more legit, and improve the experience. So we had to answer those questions once again.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically about the pre-bridge. I've heard a lot. I think a lot of people are going to just wreck themselves trying to shift out of Hex and out of PulseX and before the bridge.
Yeah,
so pre-bridge, trying to trade stuff on straight ratio, having like 3 Excel sheets open, trying to figure out what the actual value of something is, like pivot tables, like Googling how to make a formula that will tell them what the real price of their copied fucking SHIB is or something. I don't know. I just keep saying, like, guys, it's like jumping from a moving train to another moving train blindfolded. You don't know what any of these values are going to be. You have no idea what kind of opportunity cost you're giving up. Without a dollar input, it's not going to go to 10,000x overnight. Just batten down the hatches for a couple days during launch, see what happens, dollar cost in.
Well, what I tell people is they need to understand that there's not going to be a dollar value pre-bridge. And what that means is that if they're going to commit to making a transaction, that they better just be happy with that number of coins and forget about the dollar value. That's what I'm telling them.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. It's
Yeah,
so
we're
insane.
solving the ETH gas. He says, Josh Perry says, time to fork petroleum next.
Hey, I got a question, speculative question, but do you think the day of the week is going to matter when launch happens? Like, have you seen any historical
Here we go.
stuff happening on a Monday or Friday?
Nah,
I don't think.
Nah. Kind of
Does
just
anybody
happened.
know what Richard's zodiac sign is? Let's get a panel on this.
Oh man, remember when that shit used to go down? They started
What?
talking about
What
what
is it?
Richard was saying.
What's
Oh,
after
geez.
Virgo? What's after Virgo?
Oh.
Whatever's after Virgo, that's what he is.
Well, you know how like there's all these different national whatever Pancake Day and Secretary's Day.
God,
We ought to look up. and
Those
see
are
what
all
the-
made up, aren't they?
I know, but
those
we
are
should
fake,
look up.
right?
Maybe there's like National Chicken Wing Day or something. Maybe he's.
I'm
aiming
sure
for
there is one, but aren't all
Chicken
of
Tendies
those
Day.
made up? I just got to make sure because I was gone for like 10 years and I don't remember that, and then all of a sudden it was happening. So I don't know when the hell that started.